Switch gears and talk about an up-and-coming boxer now who I think we should all have on our radar. Tyler Tomlin is going to be on Showtime coming up a week from Friday. Actually, this Friday now. And he's going to fight the biggest fight of his life and try to box his way to continue to be unbeaten record and towards something that, really we've only seen from Caleb Sweet Hands Plant around here as boxing continues to grow in Middle Tennessee. And our John Burton had the chance to catch up with Tyler recently.
Well, I was watching one of your earlier interviews from during the week, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy's named Short Fuse? I mean, he seemed like a laid-back, easy-going guy.
Man, that's what everybody says off the bat. They're like, man, where did you get the nickname? Because that's not what you portray. You seem chill. You seem like a nice guy. But when I get in that boxing ring, everything has to change. That's business in there. So the chill goes away and the Short Fuse comes out.
Yeah, well, take me back to the beginning. How did you get into boxing, and how did you get to where you are now?
Yes. So originally I wanted to do MMA. It was right when the UFC got hot, started to get big. So watching those pay-per-views growing up with my family, I was like, gosh, that's something I'm interested in. But started boxing at 9 years old, just went to a boxing gym first just to get my hands right and just kind of fell in love with it from there, working my way up through the amateurs as I continued to age and eventually going pro when I turned 19 years old and haven't looked back since. 13-0, 9 knockouts. Now I'm opening up on Showtime. Got my first big nationally televised fight, signed to Ludabella in New York. Everything's going great.
Yeah, I'm excited about your upcoming fight for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm excited for you and your progress, but that is my home area, the Canastota, the home.
Oh, really? There you go.
I grew up less than 20 miles from that building, and I've been to that building many times. I've been to this Turning Stone Casino, which is a beautiful venue. You're going to love that. How excited are you for this opportunity to really showcase your skills to more of a bigger audience?
Yeah, you said it, the bigger audience. That's what we've been trying to get to for a long time. I have all my Tennessee fans. They're all amazing. They come out in crowds. I've got a ton of them. But really get to the rest of the U.S., get to some of Europe, just the international audience. And everybody views Showtime because Showtime puts on big fights, up-and-coming prospects against each other. And that's the kind of fight I'm in on June 10th, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for all the exposure that comes with it as well.
Yeah, the guy you're fighting is also undefeated as well. And I heard you in an earlier interview saying, when you got he's got a lot of knockouts on his resume, too. When you have two knockout artists in there, it should make for an exciting fight. What do you know about this guy, and what's your strategy coming in?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, he's an undefeated guy. I know he's coming in there to win, too. We're both putting our records on the line. He's definitely a good fighter. Like you say, he's got those 7 knockouts. So you got 2 power punchers going into a ring. It's going to be fireworks. There's no way around it. At some point, one of us is going to get tested. One of us is going to get clipped. And you're just going to see who comes out on top. I can't tell you my exact strategy just yet. You'll have to tune in on June 10th for that one. But that's exactly what I expect is fireworks. And at the end of the night, I fully expect to go in there and get my hand raised at the end of the night.
Now, from what I understand, you originally, Caleb Plant's dad was working with you originally, right? And now it's you and your dad?
Yes, correct. When I first started 9 years old, I went to that small gym in Ashland City, not knowing who was in there, obviously, and where everybody would go at the time. I started working with Richie Plant, Caleb Plant's father. Obviously, Caleb was in the gym as well. And it's been really cool to see how both of our careers have progressed so far. Obviously, Caleb making it to a world title fight, getting his title and fighting, arguably the biggest star in boxing right now, Canelo. And I believe Caleb's going to come back, get his belts, and be a force at 168 again. And I'm working my way up right now and working to that title shot, get my first belt.
Yeah, working at 135 right now, and I understand you want to stay there for a while because the guys at 140 are some tough dudes, and that 5 pound
big
difference,
guys, man.
Big difference, right?
Yeah, it's crazy what a 5 pound increment really is. You guys are 2 or 3 inches taller and sometimes walking around 15 pounds heavier. It's just how the weight cut thing goes. It's pretty crazy.
What does it mean for you to represent Middle Tennessee? I know, when people say I'm from you tell people you're from Cheatham County,
right.
You're probably better off just telling them, well, I'm from Nashville. But you're basically from Nashville, but you represent all of Middle Tennessee, as does Caleb Plant. How much pride do you take in that as you continue on in your pro boxing career?
Yeah, I take so much pride in. Also I try to say Cheatham County just because there's a lot of different cities and there's so many people around Middle Tennessee who do support me, and I want to get in there and I want to make it look good. You know, a lot of these fighters, it's easy for them to say, "Oh, Nashville," like instead of trying to include more of Middle Tennessee and where you're actually from. Like I've got so many amazing supporters from around here, and my career would not be possible without every single one of them. You know, I say I want to get on bigger stages and things like that, but I also want to bring bigger stages to Nashville so everybody can come out to these fights. I want to bring Showtime back to Nashville, whether it's at Bridgestone, whatever the case is. I want to bring these big fights back home and allow everybody to see it and really showcase what Middle Tennessee has to offer.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're a young guy. I remember a long time ago when I was your age, you know, my mind was going in a million directions. Boxing is such a sport of discipline, the training, the diet, you know, being consistent with everything. How are you handling all that? And where does that come from? Where does that discipline come from with you?
Yes, boxing is one of the most disciplined sports in the world. You have to miss out on so many different things. You have to eat certain things. You have to train every single day because if you're not, the guy you're fighting is. It's one of those things that you train every single day, think about every single moment of the day for 3 months straight, all for one night to get in there and showcase yourself. It gets difficult sometimes, but if you love it, you have a good team around you. I dedicate a lot of that to my team just because they keep me straight. My family, everybody keeps me straight, keeps me going in the right direction. And it honestly makes it pretty easy. You know, you love to do something, you have all the right people around you, and it all just comes together.
You mentioned it, 13-0, 9 wins by knockout. Where does all that power come from at 135?
Oh man, I've always had power. Even in my amateur career, I was stopping a couple guys with body shots and things like that. But in my amateur career, I always felt I was better suited for the pros, and that's because I did have that power. So I put those small gloves on. You know, my fighting style being a pressure fighter, I come forward, I put a lot of combinations and power shots together that wears guys down, and I get them out of there.
All right, so